Another shaking hand, please.
Merci beaucoup.
总统先生从主席女士啊，中欧应当
China and Europe should uphold dialogue and cooperation, maintain world peace and stability, promote common development and prosperity, advance human civilization, and join hands to tackle global challenges. We will activate mutually beneficial cooperation in various fields and eliminate interference and challenges to inject prosperity and new impetus into the development of China-Europe relations and world peace and stability.
繁荣注入新的动力。
Thanking you for hosting us here in Beijing. This is my second visit to Beijing. The European Union and China today have extensive and complex relations. How we manage these relations will be a determining factor for our future economic prosperity. This is why I do not see decoupling from China as a viable or desirable strategy, but equally I do see a number of risks that Europe needs to address. So in this light and in the current geopolitical environment, it is important, more important than ever, that we talk to each other and keep lines of communication open. In the face of Russia's war against Ukraine, we want a just peace to be restored. And for this, we need Russia to end its invasion and withdraw its troops from Ukraine. Territorial integrity and sovereignty are fundamentals of the UN Charter that we both fully support.
Impose encore plus de coordination, d'intensifier nos échanges.
We are living in times of uncertainty, which demands more coordination to intensify our exchanges. We have to say things clearly and frankly to find joint solutions. The first we will be discussing is the war launched by Russia on Ukraine. Our will is for international law to be respected. We have discussed that earlier. And I think that the highlights you've brought up are likely to enable the construction of a viable solution to peace. The solution that can be acceptable for the Ukrainian people and that respects the sovereignty, security and territorial integrity. Our will is to obviously not fall into the trap of the separation of our economies, but to look at each sector and see how we can improve mutual and fair openings. Our approach is not anti-Chinese, it's pro-European. I think us Europeans want to trade with you by respecting that the Chinese president has pro-China determinations. We want to trade and develop things with pro-European determination. Deep down, Europe is a huge market, a power. But it's also a power that wants to develop its industry and to protect its key sectors.
Développer son industrie, qui veut pouvoir la protéger, protéger des secteurs clés.
We discussed and I raised the topic, I encouraged President Xi to reach out to President Zelensky. I know from my phone calls that and President Zelensky asked for it publicly. So it was interesting to hear that President Xi reiterated his willingness to speak when conditions and time are right. I think this is a positive element. We also count on China not to provide any military equipment directly or indirectly to Russia, because we all know arming the aggressor would be against international law and it would significantly harm our relationship. We all agree that stability in the Taiwan Strait is of paramount importance. We have a very clear interest in preserving this stability, the peace and the status quo in the Taiwan Strait, and therefore nobody should unilaterally change the status quo by force in this region. The threat to, or the use of force to change the status quo is unacceptable, and it is important that the tensions that might occur should be resolved through dialogue.
Madam President, it's a journalist from Taishin Media, and I would like to ask.
I expressed our deep concerns about the deterioration of the human rights situation in China. The situation in Xinjiang is particularly concerning. It is important that we continue to discuss these issues, and I therefore welcome that we have already resumed the EU-China human rights dialogue. At the same time, our trade relationship is increasingly imbalanced. So over the last 10 years, the European Union's trade deficit has more than tripled. It reached almost 400 billion euros last year. And we discussed that because this trajectory is not sustainable and the underlying structural issues need to be addressed.